On a bitter winter night, in a quiet suburban town in the United States, 17-year-old Emily Carter sat alone in her small living room, wrapped in a worn blanket and listening to the wind howl outside. Snow tapped against the windows like tiny stones, and the temperature had dropped far below freezing. Her parents were away on a long-haul trucking route, leaving Emily to look after the house for the weekend. She had done this many times before, but that night felt different, heavier, lonelier, and strangely tense. Just as Emily stood up to lock the front door for the night, she heard a faint sound cutting through the wind. It wasn't the rustling of trees or the creak of the old porch. It was a whimper, soft, desperate. Her heart skipped. She hesitated, knowing her parents had always warned her never to open the door at night. But the sound came again, clearer this time, two short cries, almost like sobs. Emily grabbed her coat and cautiously opened the door. Cold air rushed in, stinging her face. On the porch, huddled together for warmth, were two dogs, their fur matted with snow and ice. One was a large German shepherd, its body tense but eyes tired. The other was smaller, a mixed breed with trembling legs and frost clinging to its whiskers. They looked exhausted and terrified. "Oh my God," Emily whispered. The dogs didn't bark or move aggressively. They just looked at her, as if begging without words. Emily's instincts screamed that this could be dangerous, stray dogs alone at night. But another thought was louder. If I leave them out here, they won't survive the night. She stepped back and opened the door wider. Okay, come in, just for a bit," she said softly. To her surprise, both dogs slowly walked inside, their paws leaving wet prints on the floor. Emily locked the door behind them, her heart racing. She grabbed old towels, dried their fur, and set out bowls of water and leftover chicken from the fridge. The smaller dog collapsed almost instantly, while the German shepherd stayed alert, watching her every move like a silent guardian. Emily noticed something unusual then. Both dogs were wearing thick, professional-looking collars, not the kind you see on strays. "Where did you come from?" she murmured. As the fire crackled in the fireplace, Emily felt a mix of relief and unease. These dogs were calm, trained, almost disciplined. She checked online lost pet groups but found nothing matching them. Still, exhaustion overcame her worry. She set up blankets near the fireplace and lay down on the couch, keeping one eye open. In the middle of the night, Emily woke suddenly. The German shepherd was standing, ears alert, staring at the front window. Red and blue lights flickered faintly in the distance, reflecting off the snow. Her stomach tightened. Unaware that her simple act of kindness had just triggered something far bigger, Emily drifted back into uneasy sleep, never imagining that by morning, her quiet American home would become the center of a police operation. Emily woke to the sharp sound of knocking, loud, urgent, and relentless. For a moment, she thought she was still dreaming. Then the dogs reacted. The German shepherd jumped to its feet, standing firmly between Emily and the front door, while the smaller dog let out a low, nervous whine. Outside, voices echoed through the cold morning air. "Police, open the door." Her heart slammed against her ribs. Emily rushed to the window and pulled the curtain aside just an inch. What she saw made her knees weaken. Police cars surrounded her entire house, lights flashing red and blue across the snow-covered yard. Officers stood behind open doors, hands resting near their weapons. This wasn't a simple wellness check. This was serious. With shaking hands, Emily unlocked the door and stepped back. I'm alone," she called out. "What's going on?" The door opened slowly, and two officers entered, scanning the room. Their eyes immediately locked onto the dogs. The German shepherd sat instantly, perfectly still. One officer exhaled in visible relief. "We've been looking for them all night," he said. Emily stared, looking for the dogs. Another officer nodded. "These aren't strays, they're federal K-9 units." The room went silent. The officers explained that the dogs had gone missing during a late-night transport after a high-risk operation nearby. A crash on an icy road had forced their handler to evacuate, and in the chaos, the dogs had broken free. Given their training, authorities feared they could wander into danger or be stolen. When thermal cameras picked up two heat signatures entering Emily's house, police rushed in, unsure whether the situation involved a hostage, a threat, or something worse. Emily's legs gave out as she sat on the couch. I didn't want them to freeze. One officer smiled softly. You probably saved their lives. Soon a K9 handler arrived, his eyes filling with emotion the moment he saw the dogs. The German shepherd stood and walked to him calmly, tail wagging for the first time. The smaller dog followed, licking the man's hand like a child reunited with a parent. They're heroes, the handler said. They've helped save dozens of lives. As the dogs were prepared to leave, the handler turned back to Emily. Because of your kindness, they're safe. And because they're safe, so are a lot of people. The police cars slowly pulled away, the flashing lights disappearing down the quiet American street. The house felt strangely empty without the dogs. Emily stood in the doorway, watching the snow fall, her hands still trembling, not from fear now, but from the weight of what had happened. Later that day, a local news van pulled up. Emily didn't feel like a hero, but the story spread fast. A teenage girl, a freezing night, and 2 missing K9 dogs. Messages poured in from strangers thanking her for choosing compassion over fear. That night, as Emily finally sat down to rest, she realized something had changed. Kindness wasn't small, it wasn't quiet. Sometimes it could shake an entire neighborhood and bring the police to your door by morning.